This secret method is how a dream interpreter knows the true meaning of any character that shows up in your dreams. I'm blowing the lid off this one. No longer is it going to be kept a secret. I'm going to tell you today how I, a professional dream interpreter and a licensed counselor trauma therapist, am able to tell the true meaning of any character, no matter how bizarre, that shows up in a person's dream. And it all starts with the real godfather of psychoanalysis, Carl Jung. You know, there was Sigmund Freud, of course, but the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart, good old Carl Jung, he's got some wisdom to share with us today. But before we get to that wisdom, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe and like button down below. Links to all the stuff that we're going to go over today are down in that description as well. But there are a lot of people out there who are struggling with their mental health, who need interpretations for their nightmares. And I just want to spread that free resource of psychology and mental health awareness to the world. So do your part, share it with the world by liking and subscribing down below. Now let's hear from Carl Jung himself of how we can use the idea of persona to understand the deeper meaning inside of our dreams. And I'll be honest, I really do think this is what sets me apart from other dream interpreters. A lot of them are really spiritual in their dream interpretations. They take kind of a metaphysical, astral plane, astral travel approach. And I'm pretty systematically against that because I think it's a lot of speculation, right? The stuff that I use when I'm working with my clients in the deepest levels of psychological trauma to help them recover and improve and live the lives that they want to live is through psychoanalysis, which is a depth type of psychology, which really deals with the unconscious part of our brain, which is the part of our brain that dreams. And Carl Jung was known to be a huge advocate for dreams. He felt like it was the royal road to the unconscious. And that's something that he's going to talk about here, specifically in his understanding of the persona. So no more from me. Let's let the man speak.
I noticed with my patients, particularly with people that are in public life, that they have a certain way of presenting themselves. For instance, take the doctor. He has a certain way. For instance, he has good bedside manners. He behaves as one expects a doctor behaves. He may even identify himself with it and believe that he is what he appears to be. So the persona is a sort of complicated system of behavior which is partially dictated by society and partially dictated by the expectations or the wishes one nurses oneself. This is not the real personality. In spite of the fact that people will assure you that that is all quite real and quite honest, yet it is not. Now, such a performance of the persona is quite all right as long as you know that you are not identical with the way in which you appear. But if you are unconscious of this fact, then you get into sometimes very disagreeable conflicts. Namely, people can't help noticing that at home, for instance, you are quite different from what you appear to be in public. And people who don't know it stumble over it in the end. They deny that they are like that. Now, which is the real man? Is he the man as he is at home or in intimate relations? Or is he the man that appears in public? It is a question of Jekyll and Hyde.
Interesting stuff. So I didn't want to interrupt that because I think it's so important. He's dealing with this complex idea of the persona, right? And so I gotta give a little shout out. Thank you to Renee over on the Discord server for sending this to me. If you would like to also join the Discord, the link is down in the description below. It's a place where we talk about dreams, we share and partner in the community, all striving towards mental health. And so I gotta give proper kudos and shout out for her sending this to me. But he's talking about this idea of the persona, right? And a persona, you may think of it as a mask, but it's a little bit deeper than that, right? The persona is this identity that we live in, right? And so I'm playing the persona, I'm playing the character of the social media influencer, the YouTuber right now, maybe even a little bit the counselor, the psychologist, right? This is blending into my work persona, but I'm also a dad with my son. I'm also a husband to my wife. I'm also a child to my parents. And so each of these characters, each of these places that I behave, I may act a little bit differently. And so this question arises of who's the real Jesse? Well, the truth is that Jesse is all of these things. Jesse as the total being is a piece of each of these individual personas that I play. And so I am all of them. Now the persona has a deeper sort of understanding in this concept called the archetype. And this is where we get into dreams, right? This is where I'm going to give you the wisdom and insight in order to interpret your own dreams. So thanks for bearing along with me. It's important to lay this foundation so you can understand the secrets of how we interpret these things. An archetype is a persona that is a part of the collective unconscious, right? So I'm playing a character right now, but you understand some of the nuances of this character already because you've seen other YouTubers, right? So perhaps celebrity is the archetype. This is the character that is in the story of our lives, right? We all know characters, right? We've got the dragon is an archetype, the witch is an archetype, king and queen, the knight in shining armor, the damsel in distress, all archetypes. They are common pieces of stories that we all live in our life. And sometimes we all play that knight in shining armor. Sometimes we all play a little bit damsel in distress, Sometimes we all let out our inner dragon a little bit. So I pull as Jesse from these archetypes and I have these different personas, right? There's the Jesse dragon. There's the Jesse knight in shining armor. There's the Jesse damsel in distress when I want to be rescued and I want to be appreciated by my audience, you on the other side that I'm talking to right now. And so these are my personal pieces of the persona. And so the question is, who really am I? How do I know which one I'm falling into and when the lines are blurred and which one is more me than another? Am I all of them? And the answer is yes, I am all of them. And so the first rule of dream interpretation is that we each are all of the characters inside of our dreams, even the bad ones. Even the bad ones are a way for our mind to understand and process these different characters, personas that live inside of us. And so I want to share with you a picture. It's a little bit complicated, but I'm going to talk you through it now that you understand persona, right? So, now that you understand these personas, yeah. So I'm living, you see up here, I'm living inside this persona. This is what I project to the outer world. This is how you see me, right? This is the mask that I live behind. It's not all of me because you don't see how I interact with my wife. You don't see what happens when the camera's off, but this is what I'm showing to you, right? This up here, this outer world piece. Now, this all lives inside my conscious. I'm consciously playing the persona of YouTuber right now, or the knight in shining armor, the counselor, perhaps. Now, you see inside of here is my personal unconscious. And so what Carl Jung was saying in that video is, if I'm unconscious of the character that I'm playing, I can run a dangerous game, right? If I don't realize that I'm playing a YouTuber and I'm begging you for attention, that conscious or that unconscious persona can start to bleed out into other areas of my life, and I can start to beg people for attention, and I can turn quickly narcissistic, right? Because I'm not aware of how much I'm asking for people's attention as a YouTuber, right? And so if I'm not honest about that character that I'm playing right now, it can become unconscious and sort of play out in the shadows of my life and become deeply gross and narcissistic. And that's where it turns into, you see these C letters, turns into a complex, right? Now, this is a complex, it makes that character complicated. You can see the A letters are in the collective unconscious. They're the archetypes that we all live in. So how does this all relate to dream interpretation? I'm gonna make this quick because the video is going on here a little bit long. The way that you understand any character that's in a dream is take that character, reduce it down to its basic archetypal form, and then ask yourself, how is this archetypal form, how is this character playing in my unconscious? Because our dreams are unconscious. And how do I need to be more aware and conscious and embrace that part of my personality that is not being embraced right now? And I'll give you a great example when it comes to trauma. A lot, I would say almost all people who experience trauma have a part of their persona, a part of their identity projected into the shadow of their unconscious mind. So when you have that dream about an evil person attacking you and you running away from them, that dream is showing you that you are avoiding a problem in your life. You are chasing you in that dream. Your dreams are safe. All those characters are a reflection of the different characters that live inside of your unconscious. And so the part of your character that your mind, your dream is saying, hey, please, for the love of God, pay attention to this, you're running away from this problem in your life. And if you just faced it, you could solve so many issues. Because that bad thing happened to you from that person, you now associate those characteristics of that character with bad guy. And now anytime you want to be aggressive, assertive, violent, stand up, take what's rightfully yours without asking if it's okay or not, you associate those qualities of you with a bad guy. And so they have been rejected, and you don't allow yourself to embrace those parts of who you are. And so they have become deeply introjected in the shadow, and now you're afraid of yourself. And that's the real shattering of the identity that lives inside of our dreams and that is shown in our unconscious. And so I hope that this video has encouraged you to think more deeply about your dreams. When you're fighting that dragon, when the alligator is trying to take a bite out of your leg as you're swimming desperately across the river, think about that character of the alligator. What secret demon lives inside of my heart that I haven't accepted? Why do I sabotage myself? Why am I afraid of these parts of who I am? Right? Why is the murderer always chasing after me? How have I denied my own sexual and aggressive tendencies? Because we all have that. We're all creatures. The more that you can be at peace and make friends with all parts of yourself, the more balance you'll find in your life. The yin and the yang will equal out, and you'll find that peace that only you can provide yourself. The trouble is what Carl said, how culture and society defines what's a good little boy and a good little girl. And when we define what's good little boy and good little girl, all those bad parts of ourselves become denied, repressed, and then trouble us in the shadow of night. I hope this encourages you to embrace those parts of yourself. If you got any questions, put them in the comments down below. I'm curious what you think and what characters you're seeing in your dreams that may still not make sense. Perhaps I can help you out. I'll see you next video. Bye.